Hey everybody, welcome to another Roots screencast. My name is Josh. I work at Carrot Creative alongside Jeff, the creator of Roots. And today I want to show you what I think is the most exciting new feature in Roots version 3, which is extensions. Extensions is something we didn't have before in version 2, and in version 3 they really add a new level of power and flexibility to what Roots is capable of. So in this screencast, I'm just going to give a brief overview of how they're loaded into projects, how they can be configured, and the two I'm going to look at to show you this is Roots.js pipeline and roots-browserify. So to get started, I'm going to open up my terminal and I'm going to create a new Roots project. I'm just going to call this one extensions. And once it's ready, I'm just going to change into the project directory and open it up in my text editor. Now, when we're talking about extensions, the file we're going to want to look at is app.coffee. This is where all configuration in Roots happens. So if we open this up and take a look, we can see down here that we have an extensions array that's a part of this module. And we can see that we already have two extensions configured for us by default, and that is JS pipeline and CSS pipeline. And if you're wondering where those are coming from, we can look up here at top and see that JS pipeline and CSS pipeline are being required in. So all extensions are node modules. You install them into your project using npm and require them into your app.coffee file. As you can see here, when you require in this file, what it returns to you is going to be a function. And that function is going to take in a set of options. And this is the case for every Roots extension. It's going to be a function that you're then going to pass in an object with different configuration options you can pass into it. Once they're in here in the extensions array, they'll hook into Roots and add new functionality. So I'm going to take a little bit of a deeper look at JS pipeline here. If we look, we're passing in an option called files, and with it we're passing in this glob expression. And what this is telling JS pipeline is it's saying any file that matches this glob expression we want to include in the pipeline. So if I open up assets.js, I can see there's a main.coffee file, and I see that we're console logging hello there here. And if I go into my layout, we'll also see inside here that at the bottom of the file I have a JS function being called, and this is a local function that is provided by the JS pipeline. And what this does is it's going to build the necessary HTML to get our scripts on the page. And we can see that all this is working. If we run roots watch, and we take a look at the source, we'll open up console here. We see hello there is coming out, and we see it's coming out of main.js. If we look at our HTML here, at the bottom of our layout, we had that JS function, and that right now is outputting JS it's linking up JS main.js into our HTML file, which is great. And I can see that if I add another file into JS, let's say doge.coffee, and open this up, and I'm going to type in console log, and I'm going to log out wow here. And if I go back to my site and check out the console, I'll see that hello there is here, and now wow is here. So JS pipeline is working correctly. We have main.coffee here and doge.coffee here. And if we look at the HTML, we can see that both these scripts are being put in by JS pipeline's view helper correctly. Now let's talk about configuring this extension a little bit more. Let's say I want to get this ready for production, and I don't want it to be in separate files. I want to concatenate all these into one build file for my production build. And this is a very simple task with Roots extensions. If I go back to my project and open up the app.coffee file, I can pass in, I'm just going to drop this down real quick, just because I like having my configure options on one line each. And I can add in an out option and pass in a path. So I'm going to pass in js/build.js. And with this out option here, JS pipeline is going to concatenate all the files it finds and put it into this one file. And it's also going to make sure that in my layout that this function returns the correct file. So I'm going to restart my watcher because whenever you change app.coffee, you need to restart it. It's loaded in once every time Roots watches run. And if I look at the source now, I can see that there is a script tag here linking up to js/build.js. And if I open this up, I can see the file here has my console log wow, has my hello there, and it's all in one file, which is great. Now let's say I want to have this file be minified as well. That's another option we can pass into the JS pipeline extension. So I go back to my app.coffee, I add in minify true. I'm going to restart the watcher because I've changed my app.coffee file. And if I inspect the file here, I can see that build.js is now minified, which is fantastic. Everything's working. So that just gives you a little insight of how easy it is to configure these extensions, and they provide a lot of power and flexibility. So you may be wondering now, how do I go about installing a new extension? That's great that you showed me how to edit this one that's already set up for me. And that's also really straightforward. So for example, let's say I want to remove the JS pipeline, and instead I want to use roots-browserify. And luckily there is a roots-browserify extension built specifically for that task. So I'm going to remove JS pipeline from my app.coffee file. I'm going to remove the view helper here too as well, because that's going to be undefined now that the extension's not loaded in. And I'm going to go to our Roots doc site and scroll down to the bottom here and open up extensions. And here's a list of just a lot of really good extensions that we recommend that are production ready, and one of them is Browserify. So if I click on this, I'll be taken to the GitHub page, and all these extensions are very well documented and have examples on how to use them. If I look at how to install, I'll see that the first step, like with any node module, is that I'm going to want to just install it in my project. So I'm going to copy this command and go back to my terminal here, and I'm going to run npm install to save it into my project. So now that it's installed, I can go back to my project. If we look at package.json, we can see that roots-browserify is now in here. We can remove JS pipeline. And then if I go back to my app.coffee file, I'm going to be able to just write in browserify and require in the correct node module. So let me take a look at the docs real quick and see what options I can pass into roots-browserify. Let's look at this example right here. So I'll pass in a files option, and that's going to tell Browserify which file to look at when it's loading in all the common JS modules. And I'm also going to give it an out option, which is going to be where in the public folder I want Browserify to output the results. So if I go back to my app.coffee here, I can simply add Browserify, and I'll add in files, and I will say assets/js/ main.coffee, and I'm going to put out js/build.js. And now inside of my layout, I'm going to add a script tag to link up that build.js file into my site. And let me just go back here and double check everything looks good. Oh, and then I'm going to have to update my my JavaScript files to be CommonJS compliant now. So it's going to look at main.coffee as the starting point when it's loading in all the different modules. So if I go to main.coffee, I'm going to keep the hello there console here, but I'm also going to require in the Doge module. And now if I go to doge.coffee and just make sure that this is a CommonJS module, I'm going to have it export out a function that when called just logs out wow. Now if I go back to main.coffee, I can log out hello there, and I can also call Doge. And with that in place, when I now run roots watch, if I did everything correctly, I'm brought up with the site. Let's open up the console, see if everything worked. If I open up console here, here's wow coming from build.js, and here's hello there. If we open up this file, we can see that it has changed. It's no longer looks like what JS pipeline was pumping out. This looks like a browserify output file. So that's just a quick example just to get you familiar with how extensions are configured in app.coffee, how they're loaded, and really how quick and easy it is to configure them to have really powerful results. So we encourage you to go to the docs site and take a look at some of these extensions here. There's a lot of good stuff here, ranging from pipeline extensions to precompiled JavaScript templates to loading data from JSON or YAML files. So really check it out, and if you don't find what you're looking for, if you head over to roots.cx/docs, and at the bottom click on building extension, and there's a lot of good info here about the API and how you can go about building your own. So we really encourage you to check it out. It's a really cool, powerful new feature in Roots, and we hope you like it. Thanks.